St. Thomas Aquinas, Commentary on the Creed, Article 3 following. Lessons. We can learn something from all this. First, our faith is strengthened. If, for instance, someone should tell us about a certain foreign land which he himself had never seen, we would not believe him to the extent we would if he had been there. Now, before Christ came into the world, the patriarchs and prophets and John the Baptist told something of God. But men did not believe them as they believed Christ, who was with God, nay, more, was one with God. Hence, far more firm is our faith in what is given us by Christ himself. No one has ever seen God, the only begotten Son who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. John chapter 1 verse 18. Thus, many mysteries of our faith, which before the coming of Christ were hidden from us, are now made clear. Second, our hope is raised up. It is certain that the Son of Man did not come to us assuming our flesh for any trivial cause, but for our exceeding great advantage. For he made, as it were, a trade with us, assuming a living body, and deigning to be born of the Virgin, in order to grant us his divinity. See Mass prayer at mixing of water and wine. And thus he became man, that he might make man divine. 3. Our charity is enkindled. There is no proof of divine charity so clear as that God, the creator of all things, is made a creature, that our Lord God is become our brother, and that the Son of God is made the Son of Man. For God so loved the world as to give his only begotten Son. John chapter 3 verse 16. Therefore, upon consideration of this, our love for God ought to be reignited and burst into flame. 4. This induces us to keep our souls pure. Our nature was exalted and ennobled by its union with God to the extent of being assumed into union with the divine person. Indeed, after the incarnation, the angel would not permit St. John to adore him, although he allowed this to be done before by even the greatest patriarchs. Revelation chapter 22 verse 8. Therefore, one who reflects on this exaltation of his nature and is ever conscious of it should scorn to cheapen and lower himself and his nature by sin. Thus says St. Peter, by these he has given us most great and precious promises, that by them you may be made partakers of the divine nature, flying the corruption of that concupiscence which is in the world. Second letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 4. Finally, by consideration of all this, our desire to come to Christ is intensified. If a king had a brother who was away from him a long distance, that brother would desire to come to the king to see, to be with him, and to abide with him. So also Christ is our brother, and we should desire to be with him and to be united to him. Wherever the body shall be, there shall the eagles also gather together. Matthew chapter 24, verse 28. The apostle desired to be dissolved and be with Christ. Philippians chapter 1, verse 23. And it is this desire which grows in us as we meditate upon the incarnation of Christ.